The most common question debaters ask me is this a good argument? And that's a really tricky question to answer. My name is Sasan. This is Proteus Debate Academy, where we make high-quality videos about competitive debate for coaches and competitors of all levels. If you've competed in academic debate before, then you've probably heard people say the phrase, debate is a game. But what you might not realize is that because debate is a game, there's things you've already learned from other games that you can apply to getting better at debate. Today we're going to look at one example, the highest grossing media franchise in the world, Pokemon. For the record, if I had a Pokemon team in the real world, it would be these ones. The reason we're looking at Pokemon is because the answer to the question, is this a good argument, is really similar to the answer to the question, is this a good Pokemon? Pokemon tier lists do exist, but they're based on the perfect version of that Pokemon. And that's not really a great place to start because it means you'd have to find a Dratini, breed one with perfect stats, train all the right moves, level it to 50, and only then will you have the actual Pokemon that tier list is talking about. And when you go to use it, if the Pokemon you're fighting against has Ice Beam, you end up getting one shot. That's because the question of what the best Pokemon is ultimately requires a lot of context. What Pokemon is it going against? What moves does it know? What role is it trying to serve in the party? Pokemon have strengths and weaknesses that you need to balance your overall team around. Even if someone trades you an entire perfect Pokemon team, that won't be enough to win if you don't know what moves to use when. If you don't have enough badges, those Pokemon won't even listen to you and do the moves you're telling them to do. Debate works the exact same way. It's not just about what an argument says in the first speech of the round, it's about what role it plays in the round overall. So that includes things like how it's balanced with other arguments in your case. It includes how well you're able to defend or explain that argument in cross-ex. It includes how long it takes you to read that argument and whether that time trade-off is worth the benefits for you specifically. Ultimately, it's about the strategic options that it offers you at the end of the round and whether you even know how to execute those options. And you see problems with this in debate all the time. I see plenty of schools that have one or two high-level teams just give a bunch of cases to their novices or more intermediate students, and they go into rounds and they don't know what those arguments say, they don't know what they mean, or they can't even get through the whole case in time, so they never really stood a chance of winning, and they didn't learn anything in the process. You also see it with people just, taking all of their arguments from briefs or just trading arguments from other people and just not understanding the strategy beyond just saying something in the first 5 minutes of the debate. So how do you learn to do all of those things? Well, the same way you learn in Pokemon. Start out with a few basic arguments and try different things out. Get a sense of what works effectively against other kinds of arguments. Battle as much as you can to get a sense of all the different scenarios you can run into. Lose and try something new. Did you lose to some cool move or some cool Pokemon or something really interesting that you weren't ready for? Maybe that's something to prepare against. Maybe that's also something for you to use on your own. Depending on who you are, you might be disappointed by that answer. And I would argue that it's probably because you've been trained to excel in an academic system where there is a correct answer and your job is to find it and practice it. But debate and plenty of things that aren't debate just don't work that way. Even in Pokemon, it's possible that one of the games or many of the games are so well understood that someone could give you an exact set of instructions on what to do from starting the game to creating a perfect Pokemon team. But one of the things I talk a lot about on this channel is that we just don't have that great an understanding of what the meta of debate is. We work with really small sample sizes. Information about what happened in one given debate round isn't available to everyone, and people have really short careers. All of this is why debate is a game in the first place. If the skills that debate teaches were things that we could easily learn by reading them, then we'd just teach them that way. But the fact of the matter is that as mammals, play is the most effective tool we have for learning complex things. As you play the game of debate, you'll ultimately end up with a team of arguments and strategies that are not only viable for success in your circuit, but are representative of who you are as a person. And that's when the game is at its most fun. Subscribe if you're not already, follow us on Instagram, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what videos you'd like to see.